Let's start this second part of the session by introducing the concept of capability. The concept of capability is a key concept in business development. Technically, we can define capability as the ability of a system to meet a specific need in all its aspects. It means that with the objective to cover that particular need, we will need all the assets, but not only the assets. We also need the associate personnel, the resources and services which are required. In business context, a capability is what a company needs to be able to execute the business strategy. It's very important that the top management involved in business development planning understand very well the concept of capability, because if not, they may not consider all the aspects of a development. Okay, let's illustrate the concept of capability by using an example. We can consider the case of a fire station. In that case, the primary assets are the fire engine or engines and the building which houses them. However, the total capability requires much more than these primary assets. As you can see, the total capability includes water supply, the equipment storage, training facilities, communication equipments, many other things which are needed in order to achieve the capability requirements. Well, we already have a clear idea on what a capability is, and now we are going to explain the capability gap analysis. This is a powerful tool in order to check which capabilities are needed to implement the business strategy in an organization. The first step in that process is to produce the capability requirements planning. The capability requirements planning is the determination of the capability requirement needed in order to support a business plan over a planning horizon. These figures indicates the steps in capability requirements planning. Capability requirements planning starts with a business plan and proceeds into a needs analysis. A needs analysis is an assessment of the total capability required to support the business plan. It means to implement the strategy of an organization. The next step is a projection of the an augmented asset capability. This is the available capability projected over the planning horizon if no development is undertaken. It means to analyze what will happen if we don't take any measure, if we don't make any development. The next step is capability gap analysis, where we identify the gap between the required capability and the projected and an augmented capability. This analysis will indicate the capability gap moving forward in time. The important thing is that from the capability gap analysis, we construct a capability requirements statement, which is the statement about the capability that we need in order to fill the gap. Well, let's explain more in detail some important concepts that we have mentioned in the process previously. The first one is the unaugmented capability. As we said, when we are looking at the capability requirements planning, we need to assess what the capability will be over the planning horizon if no augmentation is carried out. It means that we will estimate the decrease in our production or service capacity if no developments are made. Primarily, this decrease will be due to older equipment being retired or becoming obsolete when we are looking at physical asset management. Well, so how can we calculate the capability gap? The capability gap is the difference projected forward over the planning horizon between the capability that we need in order to continue implementing our business strategy and the unaugmented capability. So A minus B will give us the capability gap. This gap can be positive or negative, and this will represent if we are in a shortage of capability or an oversupply. The important thing today, because we are talking about business needs, is that the capability gap is the driver for new capabilities. I mean, the driver to undertake new development. However, in case that we are in an oversupply, this negative gap, could be the reason for the disposal or relocation of resources. Well, when the capability gap analysis has been complete, the development team prepares a capability requirements statement. This document identifies the capabilities which are required to fill the capability gaps that have been identified. And also, this document is the basis for further analysis and more detailed analysis for the development plan. This statement must provide enough information to act as a starting point for subsequent development analysis. Not very precise details are expected. For example, a capability requirement statement may specify that a fashion retailing company will require to acquire new buildings in China to support its expansion strategy in that country. The statement will also specify factors of timings and cost based on market expectations. The capability requirements statement will also specify the decision criteria that any feasible plan should meet. So we are in the process of creating the development plan. Top management will review the capability requirements statement that we have already produced, and they will decide if the project is ready to go forward. If so, the project will advance into the planning portfolio. The capability requirement statement is the starting point for the creation of the different plans that will lead to the achievement of a capability. In the case of major developments, these plans will be developed in two different and subsequent stages: the pre-feasibility analysis and the feasibility analysis. We will be talking about that later. If the project proceeds successfully through these stages, this leads on the acquisition or implementation of the capability that we needed for the implementation of the business strategy. As I said, for big developments, we need to go through two different stages. The first one is the pre-feasibility analysis. In that stage, we will depart from the requirements determined in the capability requirements analysis. This analysis will help to consider the scope of the possible responses to the requirements statements. In this analysis, we'll take different options into consideration. The normal output of the pre-feasibility analysis is a preferred option or a small range of options to be analyzed more in detail. If we continue the process, the option or a small range of options that we consider from the pre-feasibility analysis will arrive to the feasibility analysis stage. In this stage, the option or different options are subject to detailed analysis and cost evaluation. A specific team will develop the analysis, and also there will be a broader stakeholder review which will provide feedback to the project team. The result of feasibility planning is a development plan and a final business proposal. If the process is successful and the option pass through the different stages, the project then enters the approved business development plan for the organization and moves forward to the physical acquisition or implementation phase. In the implementation phase, we will need a development plan. This document will indicate what assets are planned to be acquired or developed and when. In that document, an important amount of analysis and detail need to be provided in order to make the plan stronger. Here you have a list of topics which are typically included in the development plans, which are the general summary, which provide the basic details of the plan, the main requirements, which are the technical and logistical issues, and also it's good to include a relatively complete background in order to provide context to the development. The maturity of this stage can be assessed through different factors. As you can see in that table, these factors are the business status, the technical difficulty, the cost, schedule, and the operation and support. By numerical classification of all these different factors, we will understand the maturity status of the development plan.